Are you thinking about buying a stock but you don't know where to start? Well, here are the key questions to ask yourself before buying a stock. Okay, so one of the things that you need to ask yourself, this might seem obvious, but what does the company actually do? It's no good driving your car, you need petrol, you go to, BP, British Petroleum, or even Shell, and you're filling up your car and you go, oh, well, they seem to do quite well. I'm going to buy some stocks. Or even worse, right? If somebody tells you, hey, buy this company, it's really great, it's going to go to the moon, and then you do that. You don't know anything about the company. So do some research about what does the company actually do, and then do you believe that it even has a chance to grow? Because you might find out, well, why would I invest in this company? It's terrible. Now, there is a site that you can go to which will help you with this research. So go ahead and just write this down. Grab a piece of paper and pen. Okay, I'm trying to keep a straight face here. Do you know this company? GLE.com. So Google will really help you do some of that research. The second thing, in no particular order, is the company growing or not? Okay, now, with our strategies, when it comes to investing, we don't need to have growth companies, but a lot of people do want a stock which is growing. The company is growing. So it's going to be reinvesting all of its money. It's not going to be having any dividends. So that's the one thing that you do need to know, because it's reinvesting in growth. Like, so Amazon used to do that, never used to even be in profit. Why? Because it was just taking market share. So is that the kind of thing? There's two kind of things you want to be investing in, right? Either you want to be investing in a growth company because you believe the future is so big, or you want to be investing in solid companies. They have lots and lots of profits, which a growth company probably isn't going to, because it's reinvesting, right? Or some kind of a solid company which has lots and lots of profits, and you probably know the names of them. Like a growth company is not going to be the big ones. Microsoft is not a growth company. Coca-Cola is not a growth company. But is it a solid company? It's never going to go to zero, and all you need to do is wait for the price to come down, get in, and wait for it to go back up, because you know that that's going to happen, because Coca-Cola isn't going anywhere. Gillette isn't going to go anywhere. Intel isn't going anywhere. You'll know the companies, McDonald's, Procter & Gamble, you'll know, Nike, I could keep spouting them out, Walmart, the big companies like that. So you have a choice. Do you want a growth company, or do you want a kind of a really solid company which it makes profits, but it's not growing? So you need to decide, okay? And there's this big discussion about whether the growth stocks do better over time or whether value stocks do over time, and you just need to find out which one is for you. Okay, the next thing you might need to know is it a profitable company? Because even if it is just a normal company that you want to invest in and not a really massively growing company, it still needs to be profitable. You never want to be investing into anything which is losing money. Okay, so when you talk about profitability, you're really talking about EPS, earnings per share. So every quarter, what happens, especially in the US, there are these earnings announcements, and they will announce whether they've done well or not this particular quarter. And they're really talking about earnings, in other words, profits, it's just an American for profits, per share. And why is this so important? Because there are lots and lots of shares. So for example, Microsoft will have millions of shares out there. If it had a small amount of shares, then the shareholders would be extremely happy because they're making all of this profit for just a few people. But if there's millions of people, then you've got all this profit, but you've got them for lots and lots of different people. So it's really earnings or profits per share. How big is that? Okay, so look up the earnings per share. Now, a site you might want to go to, for example, is Yahoo Finance, and you can see whether they're growing or not. We like to have earnings per share growth of anywhere between 15 and 30% per year. Okay, 15 and 30% a year, which is absolutely amazing. That is it's kind of a growth stock. It's not amazing growth. I mean, it's pretty damn good. And some of the larger companies, if they're so big, are never going to achieve 15 to 30%. They're going to be achieving anything around 8 or 9% growth, which is still absolutely fantastic. Okay, so is it profitable? And then how healthy are the finances? So it's not just about whether it's profitable, because you can be profitable, but at the end of it, you keep reinvesting everything. So at the end of it, you actually don't have any profits left. Okay, so how healthy are the actual finances? Now, there's lots of different things you can look at: return on equity, return on assets, return on investments. There's lots of things that you can actually look at. Debt is another thing, by the way. Debt. Okay, so this is really interesting because most people think that you don't need debt in a company, but actually you do want to have debt. But you want to make sure that you don't have too much debt. So you want debt because it means that the manager of that particular company or the CEO is using everything at their disposal in order to grow the company, and debt is one of those. You know, let's say you're going into a new country and you don't have any money to do it. You go to the banks, you get the debts, and then you go in. Right? You do marketing, advertising, social media, etc. You have first mover advantage, and by the time your competition comes along, it's too late. You've already conquered the market, but now you're in debt. So good debt is definitely something you should be looking at, but it should never be, you might want to write this down, more than around 35%, because if it's at 100%, it means you can't actually pay it off. I mean, there are some countries that can't pay off their debt. You know, they are struggling, in fact, to just pay the interest on that debt, right? You want to actually be able to pay that debt off. So around 35% is good. So the other thing is, how richly is the company's stock valued? Now, how many of you have actually heard of something called a PE ratio, right? The PE ratio, a lot of people have heard of it, but you might not know what it is. So the PE ratio, the P actually stands for the stock price. Okay, what is the price right now of that stock? But that then is divided by the E. Now the E actually is the earnings. Now we've already discussed this. It's actually profits. But guess what? It's E as in earnings per share. So that's really important, that is a metric which was actually made very popular back in the 70s by Warren Buffett's mentor, Benjamin Graham. Benjamin Graham wrote The Intelligent Investor, in which he says that a company which has a PE ratio of 8 or below is a really good company. Now, I personally think that the PE ratio just isn't enough. So we use the PE, so P divided by the E divided by the G, and this is called the PEG ratio. The G, by the way, stands for the growth in earnings per share over the next 5 years. Okay, so there's a growth element to that as well, and that's called the PEG ratio. Now, without going it too much, P divided by E divided by G, but you don't need to know any of these things, right? Is a PEG ratio needs to be around the 1 or below, because that denotes a company which is undervalued. Okay, between 1 and 2 is around fairly valued, but once you get into 2 or above, it means that the company is actually overvalued. So that's something that you can look up again on Yahoo Finance. Now, one other thing that I want to tell you is this: price does not equal value. Okay, so I remember a few years ago when Apple was down 40% from its height. Now let me ask you a question. Do you think that if a stock was at, let's say, $100 and suddenly it's at $60, has it now lost, I don't know, 40% of its workforce? What do you think? Has it lost 40% of its factories, 40% of turnover, 40% of profit, 40% of its products? And the answer, of course, is no, because price does not equal value. The value of that company might be the same, but the price moves up and down. Now, if you know this, that the price does not equal value, what does that mean? Well, it means that at this point here, it might be overvalued, but at this point here, it might be undervalued, which is why we always, with our VCA strategy, we always wait before getting in. We don't just buy now, today, because we have the money. We wait until the price drops around 20% from a recent high, and that guarantees that we never get in right at the top. So we always wait for the price to drop before we get in. Out there, most people wait till the price rises. They wait till they're in a bull market before they get in. So they're basically buying high, and then when it drops, they panic and they sell low. Buying high, selling low is not a good strategy. What we like to do is we like to buy low, right? And then we wait for it to turn, And by the way, if it falls even further, if it's a good company, we've done our fundamentals, we ask, what does the company do? How fast is it growing? How profitable is it? How healthy are the finances? How richly is the company stock valued? If we ask all of those questions, and a few more of course, then we know it's a great stock to be buying. We wait for it to drop and then we get in. And if it drops again, well, if I liked it at this price, I'm going to love it at this price, aren't I? And if it drops again, guess what? Then I will fall in love with it. I might even marry it. Okay, so those are the kind of questions that you need to be asking. I hope that really helped on what to ask before investing in any stock.